All right. So in this newest episode, we have Johnny Martinez, who came by, just got done doing quite the epic mission, rowing across the Pacific from basically Seattle, Washington to Hawaii. Is that something you would do, Dave?
No, pretty much my biggest fear is being out in the middle of the ocean.
Which fear?
Yeah.
Which one of the fears? Being alone with your thoughts, sharks, being cold and wet,
not seeing the bottom of the water that I'm in,
being seasick,
yeah,
being chafed,
giant storms, nobody to help.
No, I agree.
And he's just a really cool dude.
He is a cool dude. All right, well, we'll get into it.
Yep.
All right, we'll kick off here. So we were just chatting. We'll get into your trip, but you said you're from Wisconsin.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And so what you say? You said you thought you were originally Hawaiian.
No,
or you thought you were originally Mexican.
Yeah. So I've never met my father.
Okay.
He hasn't been in my life at all, and so, growing up with a disgruntled mother and stuff, you hear like the negatives about the individual, and so I just grew up like, my dad's this Mexican gangbanger, and that's just what it is. My last name's Martinez, and
she never told you that you were Hawaiian, or did she even know?
I honestly don't think she knew.
Really?
I think she knew a little bit that I was Filipino in part, but again, I didn't really know that either.
What is she?
German primarily.
Oh, really?
She's white, blonde hair, blue eye.
Really?
Yeah. So me and my sister, I was like, what's going on here? But yeah, then once we were on the boat and stuff is when it all started to come together. I originally found out I was Hawaiian at 26 or 27.
Did you do like some 23andMe or something like? Or is that what Dave? Was that what they're called?
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah. So I have done that. Before that, the inspiration, I guess I would say, to do that was hearing my aunt tell my at that time fiance, because I've been married previously.
Okay.
And I heard them discussing it at the baby shower, and she's like, "Yeah, there's family on Hawaii, and they're Filipino." And
you're like, "What?"
Shocking to me. Yeah, I was like, "Since when?"
I've been celebrating Cinco de Mayo all these years.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, "Oh man, I lied on every application in my life." It's like, help me get into college though. So
that's hilarious.
But yeah, and then I think it started really kind of coming to a head when we were on the boat, and my mom messaged me like, your cousin or your Uncle Martin, so my dad's brother, who I've never talked to, he wants to talk to you and tell you all about this Hawaiian lineage. Like, what the fuck?
Really?
I was like, yeah, kind of news to all of us, I think, which was
so.
Really
did you
wild.
meet up with him?
So he's in California, but he got me in contact with a couple of other individuals. My cousin Stella on Oahu, so we visited her, and then a part of this whole journey that I'm sure we'll be getting into is like, for me, it was very selfish. It wasn't ever like I'm doing it for mankind or to like inspire guys to do anything. I had this calling inside of myself that I don't know why, but I'm supposed to go do this.
Yeah.
100%. And a big part of that was wearing the marking of my ancestors. So I got this tattoo all done when we were out there, all the way up my hip and stuff. And like that turned out to be my cousin who did the tattoo. And so all of these weird little puzzle pieces would get put together. And so I ended up meeting up with a handful of relatives out there too.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It was crazy.
So did you ever through that family end up connecting with your dad at all, or?
I haven't yet. I'm open to it. I think it's a good time now too. But I tried to a couple of different times throughout my life. Like when I was stationed in San Diego in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I tried to reach out and he wasn't in jail, so I didn't know where he was.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing,
Yeah.
But then over the last, I would say maybe year or so, year and a half, I've considered it and made a little bit of effort, but I don't have a means of contacting.
I see.
And so
what about your uncle with that?
He was the one that I referenced or like would talk to try and circumnavigate that and just let him know, like, if he wants to talk, I'm here.
Right. Yeah.
Not like a boohoo me thing, but I honestly don't know if he wants to.
Sure.
I get it. I'm not like, I don't hold any, man, I hated him forever.
Right.
I did a lot of work to deal with all that stuff and heal through it. And it's foolish to hate someone you've never met. That's
and it's
really
also
where it
just
goes.
Not healthy for yourself. Like, I mean,
Or
and you know, you're also could be assuming a lot of things. Maybe he doesn't want to meet because he's embarrassed, or you know, there could be a lot on his end that, you know, it's like you just never know with those situations.
Yeah. And I mean, if I were to play devil's advocate, like my mom's a challenging woman to be around. I've seen it my whole life. It's a challenge, and she's doing much better. She really is. But it was a challenge for a while, you know. It's like
you grew up in Wisconsin then pretty much your whole life, or?
Yeah, primarily. I was born in Palm Springs or Indio, California, but we moved, I think, when I was like a year old, roughly, to Wisconsin. That's where my grandparents were. Okay. On my mom's side.
And, what kind of things were you into in high school?
I've always just been an athlete. I've always pretty much derived. Man, it's been a crazy trip the last few years with like my healing journey, getting to see why I did everything I did. Yeah. But everything was very like performative as an athlete. I like sought validation through friends and family, and I like was always a team captain and all of this other shit. And so it was very heavily based around like sports and just being outside doing stuff, wakeboarding with my buddies, fishing, just being outside.
Did you go to college?
I went for a semester. That was I started drinking, I think, sophomore year of high school. And I grew up above a bar. That was where I was raised. And so alcohol kind of has ran through my whole family. And so I was pretty deep into it by the time college came. And it just became an excuse to like drink a 6-pack on the way to work. And my mom went to night shift, and I started just partying and having people over all the time. And so I partied my way out of college. I ended up failing out. I didn't go to my finals. I couldn't tell you what classes I was in. Just didn't take it serious. And so that was, the extent of my college.
So is that the moment that you joined the Marine Corps, or like what? How did that decision come?
Yeah. So my stepbrother Trevor, he had served for about a year already and was home on recruiting duty, and had reached out when I was in college actively. And I was like, life's great, man. You know, I don't.
Partying.
I don't want to go and serve or anything. I'm having a good time.
Do hard stuff.
That's right. Like I'm good, and I'm still like trail running and working out and like still getting after it. But it was always it was like my therapy ever since like middle school, maybe before that, even like elementary grade football and stuff. That was always my outlet, was like just go run in the woods, go get a gnarly 2-3 hour workout in. That was always my thing. So I was still very active, but just loved partying, chasing girls, and just getting a little bit wild.
Such a dichotomy between like two lives. Usually the guy who's partying and doing everything you were doing, it doesn't have the discipline to get up hungover and feeling like shit and go for a trail run. Like it's an interesting, you know, just total opposite, like lives that you were living at the same exact time.
Yeah. And I think looking back at it from like my now perspective, the truth was always the outside. It was always the discipline. It was always the working out, being motivational within self, and like seeking self-growth, and just running the programs of party, alcoholism, let's do drugs, let's find girls, it makes you feel powerful to a degree, you know, even if it's not in a healthy manner.
And probably masking some pain that was
for sure
deep down.
For sure. But yeah, so I denied his offer to go speak to Sergeant Minky was the recruiter name. And I was like, check in with me next time you're back in town or whatever, maybe things will change. And that was the next time he checked in was right as I was failing out of college. Okay. And so I decided I literally have no other options. I don't know what I want to do right now. It's not really looking good. And so that's when I went to the recruiting office in 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was that experience? How was the Marine Corps?
It was awesome. I loved it. It definitely kicked me in the teeth in boot camp. I did have kind of a rough time, but I always do that to myself. I like to have fun. And it's hard to do in a place that's not meant to have fun.
There's some fun haters there for a while.
Yeah. So they'd like to stifle that. So it gets
really slowed your roll.
That's right. Yeah. Definitely gets you in a little bit of trouble. So I got some shit for like back talking, and I called one of my drill instructors an asshole, and that was a really bad day. Made me want to quit.
What was the punishment for that?
I got smoked for the better part of 5 hours individually. So normally they'll pull a group and there's like time constraints that they have to follow, where it's like 30 minutes of activity, 5 minutes of rest or whatever. And so it was still maintaining those, but I was getting smoked by myself. But the worst part, because I love working out really fucking hard, it's like one of my things. That isn't what broke me. It was the mental chatter that he was feeding me during it.
Oh, really?
We're going to kick you back a cycle. I hope your fucking mommy didn't buy plane tickets here because those are wasted now. We can easily get you sent back for, I don't remember the exact NJP charge it would be, but failure to comply or whatever. So it was in my head a lot at that point. I started really psyching myself out. Only time I cried in boot camp was like, oh, I'm so close to the end, and I just ruined it. Yeah, by having a hothead.
They're good at what they do. They know how to push the buttons.
They do. And I think for somebody like me that grew up, my mom was very authoritative. She disciplined the hell out of me and my sister, like beat us all the time if it needed to be done. And a lot of times I was asking for it, so I don't hate her for that. But there's just certain things that females can't do and that men can't do. And one of them is a single mother trying to step into the masculine role and play dad. Right. It only gets so far. And she did a great job, but at some point the fear of daddy's got to be there. And that's where it came into place. Yeah. It's like, oh shit, they can actually beat my ass. Yeah. So,
after they smoke you like that, do they just put you back in with the guys and carry on? Or is there any kind of a discussion? I've wondered this at times, and this is probably the woke mamby-pamby part of military that actually hopefully doesn't really exist. But like, is there any kind of one of those guys puts their arm around you and be like, hey man, like, I can tell you're a good kid, or maybe you had some rough shit, but like, let's not be doing that shit again. Or are they just like, we're done smoking, you get your ass back and keep going? Is there any like kind of fatherly advice
at times,
love type stuff that happens there?
I would say at times, but I think it's changed a substantial amount since I left. I don't know that to be fact, but I have friends that still serve, and it sounds like it's definitely gotten a little bit watered down into like, now there are certain protocols. Like, I don't know if that happens in boot camp. I didn't see that, but when you do see it is when you pin on your EGA. Okay. So you finish the crucible, and at the end of that, you get your Eagle Globe and Anchor for the first time. And that's when you get to see like the human side of your drill instructors. So that was when I got a hug from that same exact sergeant that smoked me and wanted me to quit. Yeah. And he's like, you're one tough bastard, man. He's like, I'd love to be serving with you. And like, you get a bro down for the first time. And that's, just as enjoyable as getting the EGA on, is not being seen as this number or this recruit. It's like, I got to call you by your rank now. Yeah. We're brothers in this. Yeah. There's still a seniority, right?
But there's a little bit of respect felt there.
Yeah. And so that's where I started to feel that more than any time. But when I was getting smoked, it was that through and through, they want you to think that I'm getting kicked out. Like I wake up every day for the few days of like, I don't know if I'm still in my squad,
Did you have brothers growing up?
No, I had an older sister. Okay. And then I had stepbrothers. They came in sometime around middle school, I think, roughly.
In the Marine Corps then, when going through boot camp, did you develop some true brothers? Like, did you kind of develop that family atmosphere? And
Yeah, I would say so. There was it's like a level of commitment to honoring one another that I definitely wasn't familiar with. I wouldn't say necessarily unconditional love, but an unconditional amount of service that you're willing to, I guess, embody for your brothers. Yeah.
So what happened after boot camp? Did you end up deploying, or how long were you in? What did your Marine Corps service look like?
Yeah, so I went in open contract, which means I didn't go in with a designated MOS. So I was at needs of the Marine Corps. And I did that because, I mean, if we back up a little, I went to the DET program, which is like delayed entry program. So I was awaiting my my date for boot camp. And I picked up a theft charge for a pair of $11 earrings from a Claire's with my buddy. If that doesn't tell you where I was. And so I actually got like asked to separate. So I kind of separated from the Marine Corps before I even left for boot camp.
Oh, wow.
So I had to re-ASVAB, reapply, retest. But because of that, it pulled out certain MOSs. So originally I was supposed to be aircraft firefighter, which I was psyched about. And that contract got pulled for me. And so when I went back, it was all office jobs, supply, whatever they were. You were behind a desk though.
Yep.
And for me, that's not why I wanted to join. I quite literally joined because I wanted to take life.
Right.
Not a healthy thing, but the Marine Corps is kind of looking for individuals like that at certain times. And so I was all gung-ho about legally getting to take a life, which is not a great place to be. Again, shed some light on where I was.
Yeah.
But so my best option in order to get into infantry was to go open contract. And so I did that with the goal of going MARSOC, which would be like the Navy SEALs of the Navy, but for the Marine Corps. And that was the only reason I joined the Marine Corps, was to go MARSOC. And I heard that they were doing cool shit. And so then when I went in open contract at the end of boot camp, you're designated an MOS. And that was when I got 6317. It was communications, navigations, and radar systems on aircraft. And then I was eventually designated to go work on F-18s. And so that was the billet that I was selected for. And apparently it's normally a 5-year contract because you go through about 2 years of schooling. It's pretty in-depth. Not what I was looking for, but it turned out to be good. And I loved it. I had a blast. Yeah, I had a rough time originally getting the qualifications and stuff because there's a lot of them. You can always go and take more tests and build up your pros and cons and stack up credits, and credits help for your score, which helps you rank. But for me, I had a blast because I always ended up connecting with the right people. My gunnery sergeant at the time was one of my best friends. My sergeant, when we were in school, I ended up dating for some fraternization. But for me, it was like, what's a room inspection? What's a uniform inspection? I got out of a lot of it. And so I kind of skated through the Marine Corps, which some people hate. I wouldn't change it for what it was at all.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the process. I made friends with the right people and they wanted to take care of me, and I put in as much effort as I could.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, always meritoriously promoted, looked at for all these different boards and billets.
Yeah.
Got all my qualifications and some. And that was when I put in for re-enlistment. And that was at like 3.5 years, 3 years you do that. With the score of making sergeant. And I always said, if I make sergeant in 4, I'll stay for life. And I made score. And you have a 1-month waiting period. So I found out August or September 1st that I was going to put on October 1st. And September 11th of 2016, there was a Packer game. And I got hammered drunk with my buddies and caught a DUI, a pretty substantial DUI.
Yeah.
Totaled a brand new vehicle I'd never made a payment on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was a lot. I totaled up, ran up this hill into a building, blew out their windows, flipped my car.
Holy
I split
moly.
the engine block in half.
Damn.
It was gnarly. And of course, I lied to the cops that showed up there to try and get out of it with the classic 6 foot tall black male white t-shirt, drove us home from the bar. It's just like, yeah, there's cameras everywhere, so that didn't last. But that was why I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps ultimately, was I caught that DUI charge, and instead of going from tier 1 they moved me to tier 4, which is like pulled my letter of recommendations. And I mean, I left honorably. I finished out my contract.
Yeah.
But that was the reason I ended up getting out of the Marine Corps was I caught a DUI.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm happy that it happened the way it did. As challenging as it was, put me in a ton of debt. I got in a lot of trouble. It shook my life up a lot. Was not prepared to get out of the Marine Corps at all.
Yeah.
So man, everything works out.
How did you work yourself through all that?
Well, I lost my license for a year in California. I got NJP'd, so I lost rank, lost pay for whatever they're allowed to do. I think it's like half of 3 months. I was on, the name is spacing me. I wasn't allowed to leave base at all. I had to check in every 3 to 4 hours.
Basically house arrest.
Yeah, for the most part. And that was super challenging. But it was during the time I ended up having to check out, so I didn't have to leave base necessarily. But it did make me rethink my life. You know, I wasn't partying or doing anything at that point. I was pretty depressed, honestly.
Yeah.
My whole life. I just drank my whole life away pretty much out of stupid decisions.
Yep.
And I've seen how DUIs affect pretty much everyone in my family at this point. So
did you quit drinking?
For a little while.
Yeah.
For a little while. Yeah. Once I got back out, I started working for my grandparents at the bar again and started drinking very heavily. And it wasn't until the birth of my son until I quit.
Oh, really?
Which was 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been sober since then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took more than the DUI and changing my life to get the drinking out of there.
So you told me when you got here, you're an electrician. How did you get into that?
I was playing bar league volleyball and having a blast doing it, sand volleyball. And one of the girls that I connected with there was the office lady for the whole union of the electrical union out there. And we were just talking. I filled her in with my military background and doing electronics and communication navigation systems we would be like a sister shop to electricians.
Yeah.
And so we work side by side with them, working multimeters, troubleshooting.
Right.
And I just filled her in with that. And she's like, if you're looking for something, I could probably get you into the electrical apprenticeship pretty easily. And I sat on it for a couple of days. Another weird connection happened while I was working at the bar for my grandparents. And that guy owned a company in the union. And so it all worked out where I just kind of, again, for me, it was who you know and who I connected with. And
yeah, I don't think that's uncommon though. Like I think most people's paths, I know mine for sure, is just a series of amazing connections, like all the way along. Even with building this company, it's about relationships. We didn't have any money to market early on in this business. In 2020, 2021, when I started this, we didn't have any money. So we didn't buy ads, right? So our capital was relationships and connections, and I tell my kids, I tell them all the time, if there's one thing you need to be able to do, it's communicate, right? If you can talk to somebody, if you can just bullshit with somebody, and you're at a volleyball game at the bar and you're right. And you're having a discussion, and the next thing you know, from that, instead of being a mute in the corner and unable to talk, you talk your way into a connection that gets you an apprenticeship for, being an electrician. Like that, they call it the gift of gab or whatever is super powerful, Yeah.
Yeah. I think more so than I ever realized. Because for a long time, I would say I was like awful at speaking. I didn't like talking to people. I was not necessarily the mute, but if I almost wouldn't go and be the person to start a conversation ever.
Sure.
I would just go hang out, do my thing. If you wanted to talk, cool. But yeah, I would agree. I think it unlocks more opportunity in life.
100%. And you've said several different times, you've just had these things fall into place, these connections happen, but that doesn't happen by accident. There is some luck in life, I guess, but I think everybody has those opportunities and people in front of them at times, but some people don't realize it or know how to turn that into an opportunity, and they miss it,
Yeah. And if you would have asked me not that long ago, I probably would have said that I haven't met that many people that could positively influence my life. But at the same time, I would also tell you that I like to walk into the edge of life circumstances, many different, through drinking or drugs or being a man-whore or whatever these things were. I would kind of walk up to the edge of it. And I've admittedly said over the past few years, there was always somebody there to like reach out and put a hand out, or would let me jump and then pull me back in and be like, I think that's opened up through the communication. It's also opened up to a level of trust where it's like, man, you can just pour into other people and it doesn't detract from your life at all, you know?
Well, obviously there were people all the way along that knew that, like, deep down, they didn't think that this crazy ass mixed up kid is a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's easy to read that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the case. Like, where you meet people, we all meet people in life where we're like, man, the kid's doing a bunch of dumb shit, but like, he's a good kid. Like, he's a good guy, good kid, whatever, good girl, you know, gal, just making some dumb choices or whatever. And then, you know, then you meet some people where you're just like, you know, that person does not seem like a good human.
Yeah.
I have to think that most everything you were doing wasn't hurting other people. You were more just getting in the way of your own self.
For sure. And I do love the saying. I heard it a couple years ago on my podcast from a guest that I had on there, is that hurt people hurt people. Mm-hmm. And man, if that ain't true, you know, I just didn't know better.
Yeah.
Or if somebody is not feeling heard or seen, it's like, well, it's not very uncommon for those individuals to act out and then gain even the negative side of things. It's still attention.
You're right.
Now I'm being seen.
Right.
If you don't hear me when I get loud and angry and fucking crazy, you will.
Right.
It's not healthy, but I mean, that's the neural pathways that I had built as the negative feedback loop, was just anger.
Yeah.
And being kind of aggressive and hostile. Happy to say I let all of that go.
So how did that start to happen when you started letting that go?
More so over the last 2 years was I hate using like final, but I honestly don't know what it would take at this point to get me to any level or degree that I used to be. But a lot of healing work. I started originally with ayahuasca. That was like my reach and cry for help.
Oh, really? What year was that?
2020.
And was that, when did you say you got your electrical apprenticeship?
I got that, and I think it was 2018 or 19.
Okay.
18.
So you were probably halfway through your apprenticeship when you did your ayahuasca stuff?
Yeah. I was a couple years in, newly married to somebody we shouldn't have ever got married.
Yeah.
You know, there's all these different stories we could branch on forever about her father leaving their family and me never knowing mine. So we were in an unhealthy relationship that both of us refused to leave because I seen the implications of not having a father. Mm-hmm. It's like, there's a whole bunch of turmoil created on, is my happiness more than being a dad, and all of those conversations. But those were coming.
You had your kid with her?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. In 2020, January. But yeah, it was months after that I decided, you know, we're both pretty unhappy and we're at like a good place. You know, we weren't arguing as much as we used to. We weren't drinking like we used to. But there was always something missing, or we already burned the bridge, one or the other. Mm-hmm. And in a means to try and save my marriage was when I went and sat with ayahuasca the first time.
Where did you do that? Was that down in South America or?
No, so I got connected to a group in like upstate New York area.
Oh.
And so it was really the only connection I had to it at that point in time. But it was calling. The call, for those of the people that don't know the reference, would be like, it was in my sphere everywhere. It was coming up in conversations. I couldn't listen to a podcast without it coming up.
Yep.
It would talk about all of the issues that I'm working through being helped or beneficial by going to sit. And so it was just ever there. And I got connected to this group and I sat with them. And
how was that experience?
Challenging. It's challenging.
So I've heard that's not, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk on podcasts about it. I've never talked to anyone. Well, I shouldn't say that. I know a couple guys that have done it, but I haven't like dove into it with them. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like it's not fun. It's like, I guess, like doing a drug or whatever, but it's not the fun drug. It's like the one that digs up all the demons or all the things you're struggling with. Is that what you experienced?
Yeah. How I like to say it though is that it's just going to shine. It's going to force you to stand in front of a mirror.
Really?
And whatever you've created internally is going to surface. And it might not be all of it. It might just be the bad parts, but some of the good stuff does come out too.
Mm-hmm.
It was challenging for me for a few reasons. The thought of like surrendering to anything was like, fuck that. I can control everything.
Right.
Which is not how that space works.
Yeah.
So like even the first night I sat with ayahuasca, I didn't have any reactions. Nothing happened.
Oh,
you
really?
have to surrender.
So you fought it.
Mm-hmm. I fought it so much and tried to control it so much that the medicine never actually like applied itself.
Really?
Now, neurologically,
I didn't know that you could kind of like almost keep it away or force yourself.
You can overthink it so much that you lock your brain out of allowing the DMT to actually work almost.
Really?
Yeah. It's happened a handful of times for me, but I've watched it now many times with other people as well. And that's why like breath work and being able to meditate, going into those spaces are two of the biggest things. Being able to relax your mind and surrender into the experience that you're in at the time.
So the next day you did it and you kind of
I got hammered.
Gave into it.
Yeah, I got hammered with it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk me through that. What was that like?
The biggest takeaway that I had was, I was very open to emotion. So I started crying a lot. And I didn't cry out of almost any other reason besides how much I loved all the people that were in that room with me. And that I've never felt a space that was so open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was just really not any judgment. Everyone's working through their own stuff. So how am I going to judge you?
Right.
And, I made a good connection out there. The guy's name was Steve. And he was the one that answered the door for me originally the night before to show up. And you stay out there Friday through the weekend and do ceremony back-to-back nights. And he was like a 23 or 24-year Navy veteran. Little did I know, the shaman invited him specifically to come and talk with me because she knew that I would fight this process.
Oh, really? Smart.
And so we started talking right away, and he's like, I can tell you reek of this is hippy dippy bullshit. And I was like, it surely seems like it for now, this shit's weird to me. I don't know what love and light is and honoring myself. I don't know what any of that is. And typically my reaction would be anger or frustration. And yeah, more than anything, I got kicked in the teeth with, you love all these people. The guy that sat next to me the night before that, he was like speaking like insectoid, like this weird, creepy shit. I'd never heard. I didn't know what was going on. He was openly gay. He was very flamboyant about it. All of these different markers that previous to that ceremony, that would have driven me nuts. I would have not wanted to even be by him. You're just annoying the hell out of me. And the next night I was weeping in tears, giving him a hug, telling him I loved him and that I'd do anything he ever needed.
Really?
And it was like, oh man, this is connection.
Mm-hmm.
This is the human potential here that we're allowed to feel for one another. And if something didn't rob it from me, I surely robbed it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And so returning back home, ultimately that was my biggest takeaway from that was I love people. I don't hate everyone.
Yeah.
Which for me is life-changing.
Yeah.
And I came back very like emotionally in touch. I was allowing myself to like be empathetic, feel what my now then wife was feeling at that time and being a better father and all that. And it lasted about a week before we got into an argument. And that was when we decided to get a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And so my integration home for my first ayahuasca was a divorce process.
Yeah.
And, a lot of what I do now with people, with groups and stuff is ceremony work. It's spiritual advisory work. It's having these deeper conversations and trying to navigate the waters with individuals that feel called to. And that was kind of the opening
So during that divorce process, did you go back and do ayahuasca again?
I did. So I'm an advocate for it, if you can't tell, but not for everyone, especially, but certain medicines do different things. So like now I work with what would be called heart medicine, which is like MDMA. Mm-hmm. I don't really work with ayahuasca. I have a respect and an understanding for it, but I think depending on what you're working on, it can be beneficial for separate things. And so, after me finding out that I loved people, the next big thing, and for roughly 4.5 years of work, was strictly how do I deal with my anger and my rage?
Yeah.
Because it's infiltrated my entire life. That was if I'm not really happy, I don't care if you die.
Right.
And that's not very healthy.
Right.
Right. And so I spent a lot of time working on that. I sat with ayahuasca with that group one more time. And then I sat with ayahuasca 2 more times in the jungles of Costa Rica for 10-day ceremonies. And I have episodes covering those ceremonies. One of them we left early, me and a couple other guys, Greg Anderson being one of them.
Yep.
Because of some we'll call it culty type of vibes.
Right.
And so left one of them early, and just a lot of experiences. So I've sat with ayahuasca in 4 ceremony settings. I utilize psilocybin mushrooms in that period a good amount of times. And then now I work with heart medicine.
So what's the difference between doing the ayahuasca and the MDMA? What do you...
More than anything, I would say is very conscious. So when you're taking MDMA, the idea between heart medicine is that it's blasting your heart open. It's opening yourself up to emotions and feelings that you've probably neglected most of your life or have found ways to cope with. And so it opens you up to feeling all of those things again, including all of the traumas that you had back when you were a child. Some of those are going to surface, but you're looking at them from where you're at now because you're conscious. So you'll hear people on ayahuasca, and this always bugged me, where it's I got to go sit with God, and aliens came down and gave me this message. And to me, that's all cool, sweet. You did drugs, that's cool, but what's the message telling you?
Yeah,
it's
with the
always
MDMA,
something internal.
You hear a lot of people standing there seeing their childhood, literally seeing themselves in certain situations.
Yep. Yeah, it's very conscious. So what I mean by that is you can leave ayahuasca ceremony and work through what you've seen for months sometimes, never really understanding what the message was, but this being came down and told me this stuff, and it's got me all spiraled out. I don't think it's the best space for everyone, because it's just challenging to navigate. It's dark and unknown. You have no idea. And it maybe brought up a trauma from childhood that's really challenging. And now you may have the tools to address it, but you're using a screwdriver as a hammer, and you're right. You're I don't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. With some of the other medicines, you can keep them very conscious. So that would be the heart medicine to the dosing that we utilize. And more than any other part of that, I would say is talk therapy. Mm-hmm. So you spend about 2/3 of the time talking with the individual. And what I've gathered from that is the integration into your life is immediate then. There isn't a long, drawn out process of what was said. Does it make sense? It's very particular to you, your story, what you're feeling, what you've experienced. Mm-hmm. Here's the tools. Here's how you use them. And if you want to use them, go ahead. But we've laid it all out for you, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, keeping it very conscious and allowing it to be implemented immediately is my favorite part of it.
What have you seen with people that go in that don't have, or don't even, they maybe go and do it, but they don't really seem to have any traumas, as far as they led a pretty good life. They had both parents, they didn't experience, terrible abuse, or, they didn't grow up without a dad or drug use or any of that stuff. Do you see people still benefiting from it that don't really have anything? They're just saying I'm just going in to make myself a little better, but I don't have a thing I'm trying to work on.
I do. Typically you don't see a lot of those individuals. There's almost always something to work with. How the verbiage I like to take is that it's all programs. So if you're running good programs, there's no reason to stop running those programs, but you can look at them at another level. The other thing I see is a lot of times there's like a restructuring of how you see yourself that's so deep that it almost always makes people want to be better individuals and show up in a means of service.
Sure.
And that's good for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very personal, deep, traumatic sense of like navigating self. It's how do I show up better to the world, or
sure,
maybe,
which anybody can benefit from.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I want to get back a little bit into that of what you're doing now, but let's jump forward to kind of the original reason as to why you came here.
Yeah.
How is it that you like decided to do this insane journey? Like, what was the, that sounds like a good idea. I'm in. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. So yeah, Greg Anderson messaged me and
why did he message you?
We talked about it later on, and he always said, I have one of the wildest hearts that he's ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the people that you want on that are not, like, I don't know if I would have ever got invited if I was still this angry, crazy fucking lunatic.
Seems like a bad place to have a guy like that.
Exactly. Someone that's going to lose their shit when things get challenging.
Yeah.
Or it's like the highest of stressors.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this was ultimately all Greg's crazy idea. He watched a couple of different groups of guys, Jack Jarvis and his team, and before that, the McLean brothers. And there's groups of guys and women that have done these journeys. And he got roped into watching some of them on YouTube and following along. And ultimately, he made the decision of, why am I living vicariously through other people when I think I can do this? So if I think I can do it, there's only one way to test it. So yeah, he reached out to me, 2 other individuals.
What did that conversation look like? Like, hey man, I got an idea.
That's exactly what it looked like. Hey fellas, I'm reaching out. I had an idea. Hear me out. Let me know what you think.
And what did you say?
So that was the running joke on there, is that I responded because I was on my phone when he sent it. It was like within 2 minutes, I think it was. I'm 100% in. And then the next message, let me know what it entails. So when we first started talking about this in the beginning, I said I had this calling from inside it's one of the loudest things I've ever heard, that I was supposed to go do this route. And
what'd your girlfriend say? Are you freaking crazy?
I didn't ask.
Really?
I didn't ask originally. I said I was 100% in because it's for me and she'll understand.
Yeah.
And we were working through stuff at that time. And obviously we're engaged now, so we made it through. Everything is awesome.
Yeah.
But we were at a space where it didn't matter what she said, I would have went.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew that. And so then once we were talking and connecting and stuff, like, hey, just so you know, I'm going to be doing this. And there was never a single ounce of like, maybe let's think about this. Or
Dave, what would you say if I texted you and was like, hey man, let's row from basically Seattle to Hawaii on a rowboat?
I don't like water. I'm good.
Neither did I.
I'm totally good, man. I'm totally good.
Yeah.
He messaged when I was, I guess, to just step back a little. I have endurance event history, not a substantial amount like Goggins or those dudes, but they were kind of the original reason why I was like, I think I could do this stuff. And so signed up for some like 50K races and Spartan Ultras, and would go do real long rucks by myself. And I really enjoy the part of endurance, because for me, something I speak of a lot is, on a personal level, it brings me the most raw version of who I am. Mm-hmm. When every decision is like, do you want to quit or should you take another step?
Yeah.
That's when all these downloads of life come to me. And it's like, I will see how I've been a bad father, or how I would like to make improvements, or where I can shift my mindset and energies around money, or start to manifest different things into my life, or all of it really starts to come through when I break myself down to there's only one thing to do, and that's surrender to the experience.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what you have to do on a 53-day row across the ocean. And so I was on my phone trying to figure out how to do a solo Mississippi route on my own. So when he messaged me, I was actively looking at canoes and what I wanted to try and make a packing list for to do the row down the Mississippi by myself. And so
really? Down the Mississippi?
Mm-hmm.
Why not man up like Lewis and Clark and row up it?
Pass.
I mean, sissy.
Yeah, right. Real men.
Seriously, I say that all the time.
That's crazy.
Imagine like just coming home, Dave, and being like, "Hey, I was talking to Josh, and a group of us we're gonna row up the Mississippi for a couple years,
yeah,
and into a territory that no one really knows anything about, where we're probably gonna get killed by Indians or die in rapids or with disease or infection or all of it, all of it, eaten by a bear or the Great Plains monster that, who knows what those people were like thinking could be out there in that wild. And then they go and do it and row upstream. Like, it's just blows my mind of like what real men those were back then.
Mm-hmm.
You even think about the trappers that spent all the time just out through Canada and Montana and all those territories back then, avoiding Indians and dealing with all that. And yeah, it's just insane to me. The crazy amount of willpower and bravery those people had back then.
I think it comes from the same energy that we tapped into to go to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we didn't do anything. In my opinion, it's not that. It's just not that crazy. It seems more crazy wrong. Now that we've finished.
You're wrong. But I also am not a big fan of water. Water scares the shit out of me because it's so powerful, and especially the ocean. Like Mother Nature will just slap you into whatever she decides to that day.
It sure will. It sure will. That was my biggest thing going out there. Was I have had one of the biggest fears of sharks that I've ever seen. I could be in lake water, sometimes in a pool. I get nervous and start breathing. I'm gonna fucking die in here, Or like you go wakeboarding and you have to sit there when you fall by yourself, and I would panic of like something's gonna kill me out here.
Really?
My whole life I've been terrified. And so we knew that going out there. And I was just very honest about it.
So you go on a rowboat on the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you guys took off, my first thought when I walked, so Andrew is friends a little bit with Greg.
Okay.
Andrew's our director of operations. I don't know how they actually know each other, but they got connected somehow. And then Andrew had sent, we had sent a little bit of some gear or something to you guys.
You did. Thank you so much.
Yeah. There was a sticker on the boat.
Still wearing it. It's the best.
Stared at that MKC sticker the whole time you were rowing. I was like, they're going to hate MKC by the time they get to Hawaii.
We sure did.
I cannot imagine rowing. And my first thought was I would be so seasick. Because I get seasick like going out marlin fishing for 4 hours, like on a bigger boat. And then I saw in your guys' stories, it looked like you were all pretty much sick right off the bat. Was that true?
Everybody was sick for a day. And then I drew the lucky straw, the short straw. And I was sick for 28 days.
28 days?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching a video that you shot and you were like, hey man, I haven't, it was on your Instagram, but you were like, I haven't really said much about it because I don't want to be a whiner, but like I've been sick this whole time. And it was a couple weeks in.
Yeah. Yeah. The first 5 days I was on a dry fast. A drop of water would make me throw up. I would try and take the pills, but you had to swallow them. So just swallowing the pill would make me throw them up right away.
Oh.
And so it was very, very miserable to start. I think out of the whole trip, that was probably the most challenging section for me was like day 5 and 6.
Was there, I was going to ask this later, but was there a point? There is a point. I've seen this on Deadliest Catch where they get some deckhands on there that get so sick for so long that they got to get them off the boat. Because did you start to wonder a little bit being sick for literally weeks, did you start to wonder, like, if I need to, do I need to pull the eject button on this deal?
There was a small amount of consideration in myself, but it was never overwhelming. Day 5 and 6, like I was saying, is probably the most challenging because I couldn't even hold water, and I was still rowing all my shifts. So you're still rowing 12-hour shifts, and it was very, very challenging.
Because I would definitely think you would start to worry about just your health. It's like you don't want to be a quitter.
For sure.
But you also don't need to go die.
For sure. So I think that kind of got brought up. It was never talked about, but Greg was always my shift partner through the whole trip.
Okay.
And I was pretty delirious and stuff come day 5, 6 when
because you're also probably not sleeping if you're that sick.
I was able to sleep, but it was never good sleep.
Yeah.
And so everything for me, to answer your question, I think around day 5 and 6, it kind of got brought up internally to people because Greg was starting to get pretty worried.
Yeah.
He was like, dude, you can just lay down. Like, I can row this shift. You can just lay there. And it was always like, we're going to figure it out, man. Like, the body's got to adapt at some point. It's got to adapt. I know it will adapt, but it's just not happening yet. And so I would try and power through. But around that time, it got a little scary. Other than that, the only thing that got brought up was, so it would have been the back end of the 28 days. There was a 10-day period where I took a shitload of Zofran. And so I wasn't actively throwing up, but
Is this when you also didn't shit for like 10 days?
Yep. So Zofran makes you constipated, and we didn't know that. And so we were in a 9-day weather window, the storm surge that pushed us south.
Yeah.
And so before we hit the storm, I was like, boom, looking at the package. Every 6 hours you can have them. That's what we're doing. So I just started popping them every 6 hours through the entire storm window because I knew if I wasn't on the medicine, I'd throw up for sure. And then I didn't ship for 9 days. And so we reached out to the team doctor, and I'm trying to fill him in with stuff like I can't really drink much water. I can't really eat much food. The thought of having an element in my water makes me want to throw up because now I've thrown up all the flavors of it. So if I have a taste of the flavor, it grosses me out. And but ultimately, he was like, you got to pull Zofran immediately. And here's a whole hydration thing to make you poop. You got to have 2 elements in 1 Yeti within 10 minutes, another Yeti with 1 element, tapered. We had a whole protocol.
Really?
Yep. And the first Yeti, I chugged like half of it in like 4 or 5 minutes and threw it all up. And so Greg takes a video of me puking again right away and sends it to him. Like, now what do we try? And yes, the seasickness never went away. It was there. I was just drowned it out with a bunch of medicine for the 10 days. I felt okay. And then it was that like 27th, 28th day where something switched and I could do everything, but I had to live super intentionally, meaning no matter how thirsty you are, I had to taper out how much I could actually drink. It would be a small sip of water every like 30 minutes. If I did it too fast, I'd throw it out. If we made our peak refuel meals, I literally set timers for a while where I couldn't have a bite of food faster than every 15 minutes.
Really?
So I could have a bite, I'd have to seal it back up, put it on the side, get back to moving my body. So get back on the oars, pay attention to the horizon, and go into breath work. And if I kept it down for 15 minutes, I knew I could have another bite and I wouldn't puke.
How jealous of all the other guys were you? They're like,
I hated it.
Eating and they're fine. And
yeah, like, they're drooling and shit. I was like, yeah, it was very, very frustrating.
Yeah, because that is not you don't just tough it out, or you can't just mind over matter. Like, if your body's sick, it's sick. I mean,
yeah. My thought was if I can make it 28 days like that I would be able to finish the trip, but it was just going to be miserable. But always had hopes that at some point I knew it would shift. Something.
When did it shift? When you were good?
Day 30.
Really?
Day 30, we did mushrooms out on the boat. It was a full moon. So we left on a full moon, which was May 2nd. And then May 30th, we had another full moon and we decided to do some mushrooms out there. And same thing, had to be very intentional. little tiny bit, totally fucked my stomach up. Had to just sit with that and see if it was enough to make me puke or if I could hold it. And I could hold it. And so then I just started doing what I know to do at this point in time, which is tap into myself, go into breath work, feel what's happening in my body and actually see if we can make these changes, rewire pathways from fear of sickness to joy of the experience, and do all this alchemy in myself. And it was almost immediately after that. I mean, we had like a 24-hour window where everything's pretty messed up after that. Sleep, everything shifted because we stayed up to do that. But after that, I was good. I could eat meals again. It was like my whole system rewired itself and got used to it. So you think
the mushrooms were a big part of that?
I think the energy that I was running was a big part of it, but I was able to navigate it and see it better under mushrooms. And because I was doing all of this and in the lead up to it, up to that experience of, like I said, everything became intentional. You would go out into a storm, full bibs, full expedition gear, your jacket, hats, gloves. It would be freezing cold at night, getting poured on with rain and 20-foot swells, somewhere in there. And I was like, all right, go sleep for 3 hours. And so I would have to plop myself into our cabin, lay entirely back, do breath work right away. And as soon as I could calm down, I could slowly move my arm up and unzip my coat. And if I sat up too fast or we moved too much while I did it, I'd have to stop. Go right back into breath work, relax my body, try and relax myself because I'm going to throw up in this cabin.
Dave, can you imagine being sick for 30 straight days, 24 hours a day?
I feel like I'd lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I did.
Maybe
I could probably use it.
Maybe we should go.
I think we could use it. Yeah. Now that you put it like this, I think we should do it.
Right. That's how you trim up.
I would assume the other miserable parts of doing what you guys did would be like, I don't imagine there's any way to really get very dry.
That was probably one of the worst parts.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, are you taking that boat, how big was that boat?
It's like 24 and a half, 25 feet long, and then roughly 4.5 feet wide. 5.5.
5 feet wide, and it's sticking out of the water how much?
Vertically?
Yeah.
You probably have 6 inches of the boat hanging out on the sides.
6 inches out of the water?
Yeah.
So
you're taking water almost the whole time. If there's any waves, you're getting splashed.
Bro.
And then we were getting rained on.
Just getting waterboarded for a couple months straight.
I think out of the team, there were 2, like there was one scary situation that like all of us felt some fear, but it never went beyond personal amounts of feeling fear. But the biggest probably challenge or complaint was exactly what you're talking about, was we hit a 2-week window where everything was wet. You either got rained on or splashed with water. Then when you went to change, your sleeping bag is wet, your sleeping area is wet. And because you have the heat and the cold, you're creating a ton of condensation in each sleeping cab.
In your cabin.
And now your cab walls are running with water. Or when you're laying down, it's dripping onto your fucking eye, which drove me nuts. Because it would always find my eye. It would drop on my eyeball. And the waters would be sweating the entire time. So you'd be laying either in like puddles or depending on where you had your dry bags, your dry bag could be actively sitting in a puddle of condensation, which dry bags only stay dry for so long, I found out.
Yeah.
So all of our gear started getting ruined. There was mold on our t-shirts because you couldn't hang them and dry them or anything. Every single piece of gear that all of us owned was wet at one point. So you're wearing wet socks, wet underwear. If you're wearing underwear, everything you put on stays wet for, it was like a 2-week period.
I don't remember if it was you. I think it was Greg when I saw a post talking about being chafed. Was that him that talked about that? Somebody was saying they were dealing with horrible chafing, which if you think about being wet all the time, not being able to get dry, you're also sitting
all the time. And you're rowing.
How was it on your physical body, like your back? Like, So I've had a back surgery before, and like the worst thing for my back is actually just sitting. Yeah, how was it physically to just be sitting that much, and even dealing with things like that's not something. I want to say somebody made a comment about, was it some body glide or something that somebody had or something for like helping with chafing. But like, these are the things, like if we were planning, if Dave and I were talking about rowing to Hawaii, first of all, we'd be talking about how many snacks we could get on the boat. And I'd be like, Dave, you cannot bring beer, bud. Like,
I'll switch to liquor.
There you go.
But I wouldn't think things like, how are we going to deal with chafing?
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
On the physical body, I would say it wasn't as challenging or taxing as I thought it was going to be. I honestly think, besides individuals that have had back surgery, hip, knee replacements, like kind of the extremes of situations, rowing is very easy on your body. It's like biking, you know, there's no real jerky movements. It's not real challenging. It's a smooth flow. A couple of us went out with knee injuries. All of our knees felt better on the boat. You don't really notice the taxing part of it until you get on land. And your spine is kind of weak. Your hip flexors and hip abductors are real tight because you're not used to moving your legs picking them up and stepping. All the tendons and ligaments from my knees down into my feet felt super tight after we got off and inflamed because you're just not bearing any weight out there. You go from sitting over there, sitting in your cap.
Yeah.
You almost never fully stand up unless it's an intentional stretch.
I was going to ask, like, I mean, in certain seas, I'm sure you guys could stand up and stretch a bit and try to stretch out a little, but in other seas, probably for days on end, you would almost not want to try to stand at all.
Yeah. When you're getting whitewashed on the sides and stuff, it was definitely scary, but we could also, right, it was a big learning experience for us. None of us had any experience doing this. It was all just, we watched videos and I think we can do it. And so it turned out on our particular voyage, we found out that when the waves were getting kind of gnarly and you're in like capsize conditions, standing actually helped because it brought those center of gravity up and we could lean into the waves.
Really?
So instead of getting hit with the waves,
did you tether yourself to your boat?
All the time. If you were on the deck, you were tethered off.
Really?
Yeah. So the boat auto corrects itself, so it can be totally flipped upside down and auto rotate up.
Did you test that?
We wanted to in the lake before our voyage.
Yeah.
And we got into some water in a training mission on the Puget Sound, our second and only training mission, and quickly realized we don't think we could even tip this thing. Like, we brought it up to Rannoch, the company in the UK that's the boat manufacturer. And we're like, yeah, we're thinking about trying to capsize it and just to have experience with it. And she started laughing at us. She's like, you're going to need a crane to do that and to flip the boat and drop it in the water. She's like, we've never seen them be capsized by human power. Really? And doing the training mission, I think, and then getting into the waters that we did, we were very quickly faced with it would take. We were dead to rights a few times and that thing didn't go over.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depending on the waves, you're always trying to position yourselves properly in the waves to either surf them or take them head on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always trying to avoid getting turned sideways. But some of these big ones would pull you up. And then as the white caps shifted, it would shift the boat.
Sure.
And drag us. It was almost always my back right side for some reason. So we'd be like this, pulling in, and it would tip us in to where this whole guttle, like a waterway almost built into the boats for drains, would go all the way into the water, and water would be crashing over the deck and flooding the entire deck of the boat up to like your calves. So the whole boat would be underwater. And it would just pop back up, and eventually it would drain out through the drain holes. It was a trip.
No, I'm good, dude.
It was a trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think it ever brought.
Was there a
fear.
few times where you're just like, all right, here we go. This is it. We're going, like,
yeah.
Because I would think that would be the case of where you're up into, like you say, the white water of a wave, and it's pushing you down 20 feet down, and you can feel yourself starting to, I'm sure, tip.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there had to have been times where you're like, all right, this is it. We're going under.
I think
as far as tipping, you would think.
I think we were all at a place that knew it was a very real possibility.
Yeah.
So it didn't bring a lot of fear. I think more than anything, it brought the, like, what would the word be? The realization that you're going to be way more wet and way more cold than what you are right now if you get put in the water.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing. I was like, it becomes kind of an emergency situation, not for any other reason besides it's really cold and all our shit's wet.
How much of the trip were you in? I would call it like cold, almost hypothermic type water or conditions before you got into like the conditions to where like getting wet and, tipped over or something wouldn't have been a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, there had to have been a certain point in the trip where you're like, all right, we're in pretty warm weather now.
The warm started shifting a lot later than we thought and everyone thought, I think.
Really?
Which would be, don't quote me, but I think roughly 500 miles off the coast of California heading west. So the entire trip from Washington south to California, when we started cutting and some of that, the water was cold. It was
that's a long time.
Expedition gear every single night. Bibs on, long socks, waterproof shoes, your huge expedition jacket with all your layers on underneath. It was that way all the way till then. And then there was a couple days of transition where it's like, I don't know, do I wear my bibs or pants or a sweatshirt? And so we played that game until probably almost halfway between California and Hawaii before it was like, I think I can wear shorts out here tonight. Or the rain wasn't like scary and getting all your shit wet. It was like you could enjoy just getting kind of rained on and stuff like that. But it was a long time.
Was there 3 of you on the boat?
4 total.
Four of you.
Mm-hmm.
So your big struggle was sickness and pooping.
Yeah.
And being wet. Did each individual guy have like different sets of like struggle for themselves? Like what were some of the other guys' struggles that maybe you didn't have as much of?
Yeah. I'll just talk loosely on them just because it's not my story.
Yeah.
But the heat was really hard on everyone. Definitely hit a few of us more challenging, I would say, causing like some real extreme fatigue. I would say probably on the cusp of like heat exhaustion.
Well, yeah, you go from being cold for so long and miserable, but then all of a sudden we've all been on a lake or whatever on a boat where you're just exposed. And I've never been on a lake and exerting myself like that. But you're just cooking on a boat and working physically.
Yeah, it was, every part of it was challenging for its own reasons, but when the heat came, that was the hardest part. And we got into some weather at the same time where the trade winds got pretty much cut from us. So it was hard rowing shifts, typically not a single cloud in the sky, sun directly overhead. And if it wasn't overhead because we're rowing east to west, one of the cabins is getting cooked with sun the entire time.
Yeah.
So AM shift was our cabin. So you'd be trying to hang stuff up and block the sun from heating up our cabin for the whole day. And as soon as it broke past halfway, the other side was just getting fried for the whole night. And that's a perfect cause for heat exhaustion. So it turned into a lot of, I didn't do this for personal reasons, but a lot of people, the other 3 were jumping into the water very often and just trying to use that to cool. It shifted pretty quickly. I was surprised by that I'm not scared of sharks right now.
You got over
I'd
the
go
fear.
snorkel with sharks, I think, right now.
Did you have some sharks circle you at all, or did you see some sharks? Or
we wanted many more, which sounds maybe a little crazy, but
well, no, I would think you would want to. I remember seeing a post where you guys were like, it's actually been like unbelievably boring for a while, like
dead for like 30 something days.
You saw like nothing.
Yeah, birds went away because of the weather. Everything left. We didn't see any whales, no dolphins, no fish unless they were flying fish, which we probably had 2,000 land on our boat by the end of the trip. anywhere from like 1 inch up to 10 to 11 inches.
Really?
Yeah, that one smacked Josh in the side. Joshua Dukes, he got hit. I had one land on my face when I laid down to stargaze. Stinky fish. But yeah, it got to a point where they felt like protectors, at least in my mind. The whales would come up. That was probably one of my favorite parts. And I got to relive it and like watch the videos and stuff again. But it's just a pitch black video. But we would get in these night shifts and it would be pitch black to where you couldn't tell the ocean from the sky. So everything looked like we were in space.
So weird.
It was crazy. And you're just rowing and all of a sudden you'd get like this little bump and it was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like there's something, what is that? What was that? And
that would be odd.
Dude, we had these, they would have been on my left side. We had these whales that would come up right next to the boat when it was pitch black and you couldn't see anything, but you could hear even the water rush off of their back as they surfaced out. And then, and you'd get speckled with the water.
In the pitch dark.
Pitch black. You can't see it. Only can hear all of this. And then you could hear it, all the water shift around its back again and close up.
Wow.
And I think those are some of my favorite experiences out there.
That's so cool.
Which to most is like their worst nightmare.
I don't,
it's like 3-4 times the size of your boat.
It would be disconcerting a little, like, but if you know your boat's not going to sink, you're that would be cool.
Yeah, it shifted into these things wanted to kill us, everything. When we left shore, it was everything in the ocean wants to kill me.
You're right. Which is my theory.
Yeah. I don't think it's true, by the way. But to where like the whales for me they were like almost guides. Yeah. I was more comfortable when they were around. It was like they're chauffeuring us through the ocean and they welcomed us in Hawaii again. But for 30 days they disappeared. And we would have these huge sunfish, I think they're called mola mola or something like that. Big dumb looking fish, man. Yeah. They're goofy looking. Yeah, just goofy looking. But they would put a fin up out of the water because of how they lay. And their eye would be out of the water looking at us and this fin like waving at us. And we caught one very small shark, released it. But then the next shark we seen, maybe like 4.5, 5 foot or so, it was like messing with the oar. It was like chomping on the oar, but in a way that like a dog wants to chomp on your leg for attention. It's really checking what you are out. It's got all of its feeling and sensors are in its mouth. So it's literally like messing with it. And we're just watching it kind of mess with us, but never was it like, this thing is here to kill anything.
Right.
And same thing, we had a really cool encounter with a sea lion. When we were out there, a baby one. So I don't know, 4 feet, maybe 3 feet. And it was like tumbling around our oars and like playing around and messing with us and stuff. And so everything ended up feeling I was just curious.
Is that the one? I think that was you guys I was watching on. It's weird because my Instagram algorithm all of a sudden starts thinking that I want to see all rowing things across the planet. That, you know, but I'm pretty sure it was you guys that there was a sea lion almost like he was wanting to get in the boat. And finally it was like, all right, dude, like, come on in if you really want to.
Yeah. We welcomed him in. We stopped rowing.
Because at first I think you were keeping him like away with the oar.
Kind of. We were trying to keep him from jumping on just because we didn't know if he was trying to run from something. So if he's running from a killer whale or something and lands on us, they'll try and flip our boat.
I didn't think of that. That would.
But we quickly got, and I mean, everyone is an expert on everything in the comments. So that's what everyone was saying. It was running for its life. And it's like, I've watched things play my whole life. I love playing. This thing was very playful. So we're not worried about that. And that was when we were like,
that thing's bopping along in the ocean just like you guys. And all of a sudden it's like, what's up, fellas?
Yeah.
What the hell are you guys doing out here? Yeah. Let's play.
Yeah, it was very curious. It was cool. And for me, I kept having these, I mean, part of the lessons with it all, right? But I mean, there's honestly no difference between a UFO flying around in our space to we're an unidentified floating object 100%. Floating around in their space where it's like, let's check out what this thing is.
I'm sure those whales are like, what are these jackasses doing?
Yeah, and you're in a fiberglass boat that's loud, you know, Boats in the water are loud as hell. So we're clanging the oars on the sides.
Yeah.
And it's like we're
They're
calling
hearing you for a long way.
Miles. And so we called in a lot of stuff for a while, but everything seemed very playful. And that shifted for me where it was like, man, I hope we see a huge great white.
Right.
Like I want to look at this thing. We want to see what it is. Cause I also have a hard belief at this point, a hard time believing rather that anything is put here to just like destroy and kill. That was always my read on sharks, on lions, all these things. It's like, they're just here to kill. It's like, I struggle to believe that with anything. I think that that's probably the judgments that we take.
Right.
And so, I just try to welcome them. And
yeah,
the wildlife was pretty cool.
The other things I wondered about were, God, you're in saltwater. So like electronics, like I was wondering how you guys, because you guys were posting as you were out there and doing stuff. So how did you keep, everything's wet. So how the hell did you deal with keeping electronics alive? I can't even charge my damn cell phone when it gets wet. It's like water in your charging port and you're like, fuck.
We all got that message out there a few times.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then so electronics and then like water filtration, you had to have been going through, especially as it got hot, a lot of water.
You would have thought, except our water maker broke on us. So we had a desalinator pump out there, which pumps the ocean water, filters it. We had clean drinking water. And that's an automatic system. It pumps 30 liters an hour, so a fairly substantial amount. And that's your lifeline out there. And somewhere around day 40, maybe late 30s, 38, 40s, that pump got fried on us. And we heard it. I was taking my rest time, so I was laying in there, and the desalinator pump is in my cabin under whatever, the little shelf that we're sleeping on. And you could hear it kind of dwindle down and die out. So we pull the cap off and we look, and there's about 1.5 foot of water in there.
Oh, wow.
It fried all the electronics.
Which that has to be an instant emergency if that's your drinking water.
It was. Everyone's off the oars. Everyone stopped moving. What do we need to do? It's like, pump this cap, get everything out of there. We shouldn't have had shit in there anyways. We didn't know, and we did. And so like my flotation device, it's in a nice vest with the CO2 canister and all that, water activated, was in there, and it fucking thing went off in there, and it was a mess. And so ultimately that was when we lost our water maker. We spent the better part of 5 days playing with it, replaced all of the electrical components. We ended up swapping the motor out. We had to change out all of the like tubes and conduit fittings for the water, drain the system. That got us to where we could run it for about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. And then it would kill itself, and we'd have to let it warm up or cool down for 30 minutes with a fan. Huge process. We ended up taking the whole motor apart on the second one because they both got fried.
So did you have a different filter or some kind of hand filter or something to like keep you going?
Yep. Yeah. So we were running the water maker as much as we could, rebuilt the whole motor, scraped the coiling and everything. And then we had our third level, which was a hand pump.
Yeah, you're the electrician on the boards on board, so I'm sure they're looking at you like, Johnny, fix this thing. Yeah,
and I did what I could. Joshua Dukes was great for that too. He's got a very meticulous brain that wants to solve problems, and it's the battle within self. Is like, is it worth it, or should we just say that we're hand pumping and keep rowing now? And it's like, do you want to spend another couple hours looking through schematics, trying to read all these blog posts about what we should try and do? And I can say that we honestly tried every single thing that we could, and could only get a couple minutes out of it. So at that point in time, which is right when it got hot, it was hand pumping only. So we did a total of 1 hour and 15 minutes a person on the hand pump, which gets you 5 liters an hour. So we dramatically lost how much water we were able to start intaking. All of our food is made with water. But at that point, it was like, no more laundry. No one gets to take showers. There's no utilization besides drinking and eating. And so everyone ran through all their clothes. For how many days
did you do that?
That was roughly 20 days or so.
So showers were
2 months.
2 months.
Or 2 weeks. Sorry,
2 weeks of Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when it was like jumping in the water a lot more, taking field showers with baby wipes.
Why didn't you want to jump in the water?
I didn't like how the salt water would dry onto my skin. It felt like it was dehydrating me.
I can see that.
And so
I actually wondered about that when you said they were jumping in there a bunch. I was even wondering about like with the chafing issues and stuff.
I think it makes it worse because
100%.
normally it was if you jump in, you get to use this fresh water and just hose off real quick. And then they lost that ability. Yeah, we lost the ability to do that. And so right away I was like, I'm good. I would just wear a towel over my legs, like this kind of a t-shirt or something lighter if I can, hood up, hat on.
You wore that on the boat, didn't you?
All of us loved this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fantastic shirt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, let's stop for a second and say that. Thank you so much for the sponsor and for helping out. It was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do much, but I mean, yeah. Our pleasure. But
yeah, it was great.
It was really neat opening up my Instagram and seeing, you or Greg or whatever wearing our shirt. Because I think you guys also had some of our merino wool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we had these, a couple t-shirts, one thicker t-shirt.
Yep, I think that was the merino
wool, which I had all my MKC stuff out there. And then we were hoping to use the damn fillet knives, but never caught a fish.
Yeah.
So we were using it to cut up our Spam and stuff. Yeah, it does work.
Did you do a lot of fishing?
I would say we had a lure out probably 40 of the days.
And didn't catch much?
No, we caught a shark. One of the sharks right away, a little tiny one that we just released. No reason to kill it and eat it. A pretty large squid. Maybe like a foot and a half big squid that we just casted back out and that got eaten by something. And other than that, I think it was a type of barracuda, but it was like a snake. So we just threw that back too because it was like there's no, you can't even cut a fillet off of it really.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, we didn't catch anything, which surprising. We were shocked by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. How did you guys do with each other? Just relationally, we talked about it actually a bit earlier about like there was a time in your life you wouldn't have done well in that situation with other guys and whatnot. How did that go with the interactions of each other? I mean, you're worn out, tired, stressed out, whatever. How did that all go?
Impeccably.
Really?
Yeah. I've talked a good amount about it because it was honestly a little shocking to me. Every person I talked to is like, I'm sure you guys had shit off camera, like, fighting each other and yelling, and it never happened. That was our biggest and really only thing that we discussed going out there was there's no place for projection of frustrations or anger towards one another. If you get frustrated, that's fine, but don't meet other people with that because it does nothing but take away and it becomes a detriment to the team. And there's just no space for it out here. We're literally surviving. And I think we all did a great job. There was not a single encounter that I can think of where anyone blew up on one another, name called, because we're also all jiu-jitsu guys and like we understand, we understand that side of things. So if you're going to get in my face and be like, fuck you, bro, it's like, well, now we fight to the death.
Right.
And we don't know how that looks. It definitely doesn't help our team out here,
Right. Yeah.
And so that was what we always showed up with. If you have something to address, try your best to do it out of love and like respect for one another. And I'm sure I'll speak for myself, but there's definitely frustrations directed towards your teammates. But I think it's great for life. It's a good thing to hold on to is if that's the foundation that you want to build, then that's how you have to show up as an individual. And that's powerful. Not allowing your emotions to dictate how you show up in the world, not letting the frustrations you feel with your kid detract from the situation and just let them be frustrations. They are what they are. Right. I'm dealing with them. But never showing up in a means of projecting outwardly that, which was my whole thing before.
Right. Sure. Yeah. What was that moment like when you guys saw land for the first time?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I woke up for a morning shift, and I didn't think I was the first to spot it. I thought someone else did, but we talked about it on the dock, and apparently I was the first to see it. But there's this rainbow coming down, and the rainbow is shining through the clouds and hitting land. Where I've never seen an actual rainbow touch the ground where it connects.
Mm.
That was the first time ever. And so that was like, oh, this is the pot of gold, you know? It was pretty cool. They being all the people that we talk to that are sailors and ocean navigators, they're like, 130 miles, 125 miles, you guys will see land. And then it was like, we just kept chipping away. It was like 2 days of that where it's like 50 miles, we're still not seeing any land.
Really?
Yeah, until we were roughly in like I think it was just shy of 30 miles.
Oh, wow.
Was when we could finally see land. And it was.
I also do wonder, this might sound dumb, but how much of you're sitting at 3 to 4 feet above the surface of the water versus being on a ship maybe 18, 20 feet up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that there is the curve of the earth there, but I mean, it's got to take a long time to make up 15, 20 feet of the curve of the earth to be able to see. Like if you're on a ship, maybe that extends that a lot.
I would imagine so. We also got, some of the hardest rowing that we did was the final like 14 hours. We got hit with some big waves, some pretty nasty conditions off the coast of Maui. And it was blowing us all over the place. We had to row really, really hard because we had a southwestern wind blowing in on us. So it was taking us, it's taking us northwest.
Yeah.
So if we stopped rowing, it would blow us about a mile north, which is opposite of the direction we're trying to drop into Maui on.
Yeah.
And so some of the last shifts were the hardest shifts, where it was 3 hours of grinding as hard as we could to keep forward momentum and trajectory, and waves were crashing over the sides and stuff again. But seeing land was incredible. Everyone processed it differently with emotions and FaceTimes and videos and calling our family and letting them know, and a lot of excitement.
How long did it take you to go from that 30 miles into shore?
So we seen it the morning of the 24th, and we made landfall at 10 a.m., I think. And so probably about 5 hours.
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours we were seeing land, because it was also coming into daytime, right? So we probably could have seen it a little bit further out, but it was dark.
Yeah.
So probably like 5 hours or so we got to sit with seeing the land and watch its evolution as we got to go in, because, the west, or it would be the east side that we came over the top of, is all like jagged 100, 200, 300 foot cliff rock falls on the side. And I'd never seen anything like that really either. So the rowing stayed strong and steady, but like looking outwardly and observing and taking everything in was dramatically shifted into not just staring at the fucking ocean. You know? It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Like there was times where just seeing anything float in the water was like, oh bro, look at that. It was just like a glass bottle.
Right.
It's like a buoy that someone left and it's all moldy. It's like, oh, you see that? And it would just get you excited.
Somebody, I don't know if it was Greg or somebody, posted and just said, part way through the trip, just like, it was shocking how boring it was for like, and you do think of that. I was telling my wife, I'm like, just go sit somewhere for 2 hours and just do nothing and like see nothing, like just, and it's even hard to process that, because no matter where we would go sit, there would be trees or a mountain or a bird fly by.
Distractions everywhere.
There's something. I mean, there are ants crawling on the ground, whatever it is. There's some kind of distraction, but like you just go sit on the water for even 2 hours or 6 hours or 8. I can't imagine for 30 or 50 days. Especially like you say, that whole stretch where you're not seeing birds or fish, or it's just like you're just seeing each other.
It's a trip. I was like trying to look at, it would probably only be a touch further than you and I are. Like if I slid back even halfway to the wall, that's your whole entire world.
Yeah.
That's it.
You got real tired.
I don't have to go to the
real
front.
tired of looking at Greg.
Yeah, I know his back and the back of his head well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that when you're rowing, you're looking at his back?
How we had positionally, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and Wilton always rode what would be in the front or the bow section, which is technically the middle seat, because it can row 3.
Did you accuse him of not rowing hard enough a lot? I would have.
I should have done it more, probably.
Yeah.
I should have done it more. Well, I think the only time I had to say anything was heat exhaustion, because all of us want to fight through it,
Yeah.
And you'd get to the point where you're so tired that your oars wouldn't even go in the water anymore. And you'd be doing this just back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, just.
You rowing, bro?
Just take a nap. Put them up. We're dicking around right now. Just get them out of the way.
Yeah.
It was a trip, man. It was a trip. Yeah. Physically, it wasn't as challenging as we thought. Like you said, besides being wet was probably the most challenging part.
Wet and sick.
And, yeah, for me personally, being sick. And then I think for everyone else, it was being wet. And then the wetness, like you said, causing I didn't really none of our hands got real bad. Like they're already pretty much back to normal, But dealing with that kind of stuff, your fingers are all falling off, all your skin's falling off. Everyone had sores on their asses.
Yeah.
And was putting pseudo cream as the baby diaper rash. Was putting that all over their bodies. Maybe that's what it was,
Desitin or something.
Same thing, yeah. Desitin and pseudo cream were the two that our team doc sent us out with. I didn't use any of it. I wanted to see what my body would do. And so I had a very sore, very painful ass for quite a while. I was very honest about that. Out of everything, that was my big thing, was my ass is just kind of getting beat up out here.
Yeah.
Careful how you say it.
Pause.
I mean, what happens on the boat stays on the boat.
That's right. That's
we have a podcast.
Yeah. Greg was in the Navy, right? Man, that's incredible, dude. I admire you guys. There's things I see that are really, really hard that people do that I'm like, man, that would be cool. Or could I train? I could see it'd be neat to train for that and do it, whether it's, climb a huge peak or, even some of the ultra marathon stuff or whatever. And then there's certain things I see where I'm just not for me. And man, being on that ocean, I admire it. And it's, but man, I just don't think I would. I think I would probably tap out. Yeah, I hate to say that because I don't feel like I'm a quitter. But man, that's a long time. How many days total on the water?
53.
53 days.
I think it was 53 days and 1 minute was our arrival time.
Oh, really?
I believe. Yeah, I believe it was either 1 minute or 1 hour, but I think it's 1 minute. So almost exactly 53 days.
What did you guys think it was going to take? What was the plan?
Our guess was 50 to 75, and we were all kind of leaning roughly 65 days.
Oh.
So we beat our time in. That brings all of its own challenges. Like I said, everything becomes a challenge if you want it to out there. And so there was a time where we had good weather, good knots, good wind we were holding. And there was a bunch of excitement that our ETA was June 16th. And so it was like, ladies, buy your flights, get hotels, do all the rental cars, do it all. And then the 16th became the 17th. And then the
Mother
18th,
Nature beats your ass.
And then the 19th.
Yeah.
And then we lost all of our current, and it's the 20th. And then we're in stormy conditions for 2 days, and it's the 22nd, 23rd. And then we made our way in on the 24th.
Yeah.
But so that was its own thing too, where it's like, all right, actually cancel the flights. Our winds are bad. Buy flights for these days. And there was a lot of stress, I think, I'll say within the team for that. But I just tried to sit in the moment as much as I could.
Yeah.
I would get really frustrated when I got pulled out of the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I saw there was something, I don't know if Greg shot this video or one of you guys said something, I had seen, like you say, the internet is just, it's really cool. And it's one of the, 25, 30 years ago, you could have done this and no one would have known about it. Mm-hmm. So that's what's the advantage to the internet. It's awesome. We could build a business like this off of the internet. But then you also have your people, like I saw the comments of well, there's a chick doing it solo from wherever. And it's like, yeah, sweet. Like we're not in a competition with her. She's a stud. It's freaking awesome.
For sure.
Like
Kelsey.
Good for her. Yeah. If anything, I think the more people doing this kind of stuff, like helped people find each other, even the fans and followers. Like, I don't think I ever would have heard about her doing that had it not been for following you guys. And it's not like it's I think Greg or somebody said, like, look, guys, we're not saying we're anything different or more special than what she's doing or whatever. It's just different. It's our journey. She's doing her thing.
Yeah, we all had a lot of thoughts on that. I think most of us addressed it in our own individual videos. I did as well. But you just get to see how much there's competition mindset in society when it's like I didn't get frustrated over much out there, but that was one thing that was starting to ruffle my feathers a bit, where it's like, man, it's frustrating because look at how you view the world.
Yeah.
There's more than enough for all of us to go do this. Why can't it all be cool? It's the same thing with like being rich. It's like there's enough for everyone. It doesn't have to be this fucking hate each other.
Right.
Look what she's doing. And I can't
hate people for their own success.
Yeah. Where it's like, why can't we all just go do cool things?
Yeah.
And I'm going to cheer you on. Just like to Kelsey in particular, shout out Kelsey if you hear this. Congrats on the world record. She beat the men's world record, everything. She's a stud. Yeah. But like we were in contact with her most of the time. She helped us on our boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When we were like, what is too big of waves to navigate? How do we set up para anchor? And she has experience out there. So we went to her for experience.
Yeah.
That's the elimination of competition mindset. We're not trying to do anything besides we want to just go learn about the ocean, learn about ourselves, and do cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that was my big, like, I guess maybe call to action, if you were to label it, is look at the comments that are being put out, look at the ones that are frustrating you, look at the ones that you're putting out into the world, and look at how, if you were to shift it into a mirror, how is that detracting from your life?
Yeah.
Where are you running competition mindset where it's actually not a benefit to you?
Yeah.
Or where are you playing the comparison game? Or the biggest one that I'm still a huge advocate for talking about is fear.
Yeah.
Fear controls so close to everything.
Well, I get a lot of messages from people even talking about like, you know, thinking it's really cool what we started as our business and how we've grown and stuff. And then people talking about, well, you know, I've been wanting to start my own business. I've been wanting to quit my job and do this or do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say you're right. A lot of the reason people don't do that is just out of fear. And it's like, well, actually fear of what? Like when I quit my job to start MKC, I was a lineman.
Mm.
Okay, I quit my job and I did have a ton of fear when I did that. Like it was like, I mean, I posted a video. It was like, all right, I just quit my job. Like, here we go. But what's the worst case scenario that could have happened? Like this didn't work and I just had to go get another lineman job.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, shark's not going to eat me, right? Like it's not, it's like, well, what are you actually really that scared of? Like there's a lot of jobs out there. If someone wants to quit their job and chase their dream, like that's actually one of the things you should be least fearful about.
Yeah. Seeking self-growth and fulfillment in your life.
Yeah. Or, you know, if it is, you're going to train for a marathon and okay, what's the biggest fear that you've got? You're going to cramp up in the middle of it and quit. So what? Like, okay, so you ran a half a marathon and then you tapped out. Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to learn a lot from that experience. And maybe you're going to come back and do it again and accomplish it. Maybe you'll never run another one, but you're going to take benefits away from that.
Definitely.
There's very, very few times that there's a fear that's associated with something that's really like a super valid concern of a fear that you should be. Like if you're going to crawl down in a bear den and say you're going to pet a grizzly bear, like there's some fear there that you should probably
listen to that.
Like
one
listen to.
Yeah.
You know, there's like fear and then there's like things you can do that are just stupid.
Yeah.
But most of the time, the fear that's attached to something is actually just self-imposed fear that's not even, it's like fear of what, you know?
I don't know the exact statistic or who did it, so feel free to look it up, but it's something in the realm of like 88% of fears, and maybe even in the 90s, percent of fears and anxieties that we create for ourselves never come to fruition. So it's like that statistic alone should imply that fear is controlling your life. Where is fear being viewed?
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm a huge advocate for it because once you can spot it in one thing, it's everywhere. It's like I have fear with how I parent. I have fear with how I show up as a spouse and as a son to my mother. I have fears about how I talk to my bosses.
And you're going to actually probably fail at all those at some point.
For sure.
Yeah.
But if I allow the fear to control me, then it's doing it from a place of performance.
Right.
I'm showing up outside of myself in fear of me being authentic and just saying like, I think I'm worth this much at work.
Well, I've been very proud we've done some fitness challenge things here at work. My wife kind of runs some of this stuff down in our gym and whatnot. And we've had some people join some of these fitness challenges that work for us that are, heavy dudes, right? Mm-hmm. That have got some extra pounds on them. And I've been very proud of some people that have joined these challenges and done them. And a lot of people would fear like stepping on that scale in front of their peers, right? Going and run the mile for time when Tristan, who's half gazelle, is going to go run it in 5 minutes, right? And this dude over here is going to take, 10, 15 minutes to do it, but still does it. Like I'm very, very proud of those folks that we've got that I'm sure they've got some fears or some anxieties or whatnot to put themselves, because we do live in this comparison world with Instagram and social media that is not reality. A lot of what you're seeing on social media, and people are only putting their best foot forward and they're not showing you the things that they're fearful of or that they're struggling with. And so when our guys go and do that and put themselves out there, it also tells me we're running the right kind of culture in our building where they feel safe to walk into the weight room downstairs and step up onto a scale in front of their peers, knowing that their family around them here at MKC loves them. And they're not going to be like, oh, you're 260. Like,
it's a fatty.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how it works.
That's not. And yeah, sure. Now and then I'm going to call Dave fat because he knows I love him. But
and I'm fat.
Yeah, and me too, right? But of course, there's going to be the natural guy ribbing
for
of,
sure.
Hey, fatty, what are you doing here? But in that scenario and in that situation, none of us would ever do that, right? There's like time and a place and whatnot,
of course.
But there's like, no, bro, like get on that scale and then let's go crush this thing that we're going to do together.
Yeah, and I think they're both again back to it's everyone's doing their own thing. So for him, that's literally just as cool to me as the dude that can run it in 4 minutes and 30.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your first time running a mile since middle school. Like, yeah, dude, let's go. Yeah. I don't care if it takes you 15 minutes. Do it.
I don't care.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from a place of, like you said, the culture that you've built here. And what I'm trying to build is the same thing, which is a space that's lack of like negative criticism and judgment.
Yeah.
Because who am I to judge?
Right.
Oh, you got in a car accident and shattered your leg and now you put in 150 pounds and I get it.
Right.
Who am I to say anything,
Right.
I'm here to support and show up the best that I can. And I hope that you guys all do the same,
So tell me about what you're doing now with your podcast and you alluded to some of this with the ayahuasca stuff, the MDMA and all that. So what are you doing today?
So I'm still an electrician by day, but what I'm trying to transition full time into is I started a business recently and I've kind of been working on it. I get like different branches of it, if you will, for the past roughly 3 or 4 years. But the business is the Warrior Healer Project, and that is out of Wisconsin. And then it's got I've tried to create pretty much an ecosystem for healing. A space that I always wanted to try and find myself and I never found. And so I'm trying to create that. I do that through a couple of different means. One is my Jiu Jitsu Academy, which is the Warrior Healer Academy. That's Tuesdays and Thursdays. I run a gi and no gi class, but I don't put it out there as I'm a Jiu Jitsu Academy. I just made it the Academy, Warrior Healer Academy, because what I'm actually trying to teach in there is emotional regulation, is to be a mirror for individuals doing exactly like what we're doing, having the deep conversations, talking about where fears control us, where we can just improve our lives overall. I introduce yoga and breath work in that space. And so like energy and frequency we play with. And I utilize jujitsu because it's the best means I've ever found for throwing people's emotional regulation to the wind and them going crazy.
Yeah.
If you've ever rolled jiu-jitsu, the spazzy white belts, like they can be taught breath work and yoga to control themselves and slow down. But what I've noticed in my own life is the more that I get in tune with that side, the more the rest of my life improves.
Mm-hmm.
I get paid more for the jobs that I do from the company that I'm with. I'm respected more from the individuals that work underneath me. I show up better as a son, better as a husband, much better as a father. But I've learned most of it in that sense. It's through jiu-jitsu, breath work, yoga, qigong. All of that is there. And then I've had the Warrior Healer podcast, and I started that after doing ayahuasca in Costa Rica with Greg Anderson. And he was kind of the voice of like, go share some of this stuff. You have something to say, go say it. And I was like, I'll take you up on it. Okay.
Cool.
And so, yeah, I have long form discussions there. I don't put a time restraint on them. And we dig into many facets. A lot of times it goes into people's traumas and wounds that they've dealt with or are working on, to let everyone know that they're not alone. There's much more challenging things in this world that we can navigate. And a lot of times it's the creation of division and fear mongering. It doesn't need to be us at each other's throats.
Right.
And then what I'm transitioning those two things I've been doing into is working in men's group spaces. And that's a place I've been called to for quite a while. I've done a little bit of men's work, but I really want to lean into that more when I get back home. And so having a monthly or bi-monthly men's circle or men's group, setting up expeditions, because as you can tell, that's part of my existence. I think that's part of why I'm here.
Yeah.
I like doing challenging things and running expeditions and adventuring. And a lot of people want to vicariously live through me. So I want to open that space up to them and say, like, come and hike 50 miles or 100 miles this weekend with me. Here's your packing list. Let's do this.
Yep.
And ultimately bringing community together.
Yep.
And working with men.
Very cool.
And then on the spiritual side of things, I call it spiritual advisory, but I don't really like the name. I don't like life coach. I don't like guide. I don't know what I want to call it yet, but I say that I'm a steward of the mission typically, which is if you want to work spiritually one-on-one with me, anything that I may have that can help or influence you in any sort of means, then I'd love to work with you. But yeah, I have a lot of understanding when it comes to like alcoholism, narcissism, anger, and rage. Those are probably my three huge things.
Sure.
And so when that resonates with individuals, I just try and hold space, like we talked about, of non-judgment for that, and show up as a mirror and reflect back and let them know where they can try and improve their lives.
Sure. No, it's super cool. And it's obviously comes from a place, when you've been through it, there's some credibility there where you can also call somebody on their BS and been like, no, man, I've been there. Like, it's easy for somebody to say to me who hasn't been through some of that, like, well, easy for you to say, you don't understand what I'm going through. And,
everyone gets it.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to say, by the way, congratulations. You proposed on the dock when you got back?
I did. Yeah. Thank you.
So did you pack a ring the whole entire time? Was this something you planned on? Like, how did that go?
No, we were. So, my now fiance, Amelia, we were under the understanding when I first started this trip and for months leading into it that I wasn't going to reach out more than once every 2 weeks. This is very much my personal journey and mission and a pilgrimage back to my homeland and ancestral connections and all this stuff. And that got shattered within like hours. So we were FaceTiming a day or once or twice a day the entire trip. And, like kind of back to what we were saying before, there is a lot of time to sit with self out there. Even when you're in the space of somebody else, I'm still by myself.
Yeah, yeah.
And
a lot of time spent in your cabin laying there thinking.
Absolutely. And one thing that came through a lot for me was, again, I try and look at where I'm holding on to some fears in my life. And I found those in two big relationships, one with her and one with my son, and how I can shift from fear into how I can actually show up a better individual. And the more I sat with it, the more that came to be a reality of like, we've talked about wanting to get married. I've said since the day I met her, this is the woman of my dreams. I don't see myself ever dating another woman, even if this doesn't work. I'm good. Like this, I love this chick, it's awesome. She's literally my best friend. It's great.
Yeah.
And so I got to sit with that a little bit more. And about a month or so in, I took a picture of when I did it, but I didn't have a ring out there because I wasn't intending on doing this.
Just wrap some seaweed around her finger.
Pretty much. I found some micro paracord, so real thin paracord.
Yeah.
And watched some videos on how to make these rings and weave them together. And so I weaved us a couple of rings out there. And I wore them on a carabiner and clipped them onto my chest and necklace. So they were just dangling on my heart every day that I rode out there, and she was with me. And so when we got back, the original plan was to do it on the dock right away. And then we seen there's like 120 people there and news reporters, and everyone's trying to put all these 50 lays around us. You can't see. And you got crowns and snacks and chicken and potatoes and frozen mangoes and all this stuff. And there was a time where there was one nice photographer there that showed up for us. And she was like, let's do family pictures quick. And so when that opportunity showed up, I looked at Greg and was like, I think I'm going to do it right now. Are you cool? He was like, now's the best time. Because I didn't want it to take away from everyone else's experience.
Yeah.
I didn't want it to make it our thing. It's much bigger than that. And so I didn't want to detract. So I kind of asked Greg, and he was like, you're good, dude, go ahead. And so I called Amelia over. And when I did, she walked past Joshua, and I heard him tap his wife and be like, watch. And so, I proposed there on the deck or on the dock rather. And we're doing it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're doing it.
Well, congrats.
We went and got some rings tattooed.
Very cool.
Out there, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, you talk about like the time sitting there with yourself and whatnot. Because of my algorithm, I found, have you seen that guy, the Adventure Aaron guy that's rowing around the world?
Crazy, dude. He's crazy. So us as rowers look at him and like, that dude's nuts.
Because I mean, you guys did have three other dudes to kind of converse with and at least keep yourselves up a little bit mentally and lean on each other a little. That guy's been rowing now for a few years.
Yeah, 600 plus days at this point.
At sea by himself. And he's wrecked a boat. Like he's had shit get destroyed and
ran out of food for a long time when we were out on the water. He
ran out of food, had a barge come by and throw him some food. And he's just the happiest. Like he named his boat Smiles, and he's just like got the best message. I encourage people to go follow what he's doing. You talked about getting close to Maui and how the seas got crazy. Well, he's now by the seashells or whatever, like rowing into there, and it's like crazy aggressive waves and ocean. And they actually went out and towed him into there because they grabbed him and towed him into that because it was like, it's legit, like crazy dangerous.
Yeah.
And I saw some comments of like some dude was on there that had the gall to be like, well, it doesn't even count now. Like you haven't rowed across the whole world. Like you just got towed in, like he got towed in like 4 miles or something, to get through.
Failure, you fucking suck.
Yeah. Dude. And it's like, this guy's been out at sea for like 600 days.
Yeah.
And he's rowing around the world by himself. And all I can think to myself is like, just go sit in a tree stand. For most guys listening to this, probably hunters, like go sit on the mountain elk hunting for a whole entire day by yourself, or sit in a tree stand for 6 hours by yourself. And just the level of boredom and the thoughts that start to creep into your mind. And now sit on a boat in the middle of the ocean and all the things that you guys contended with being wet and hungry and lonely. And I just can't even imagine what that guy's going through.
He's seen it all.
What is it, Kelsey?
Yeah.
What she just did. I mean, just going from the US to Hawaii is incredible solo. Like that many days by yourself with your thoughts. And also, again, the fear of being in the dark in the ocean by yourself if something goes wrong. I found what you guys did incredible. But even then, you at least still know, like, well, Greg's right there. Like, we got some guys that can help. I can't even imagine being on the ocean in the middle of the night in a storm solo. It's
different beast. Like there are just people, there's levels to this game.
Everything, man. Everything, whether it's jiu-jitsu, you got some 2-stripe black belt or whatever that you think is amazing. And then you watch some guy come in and beat him. And it's like, just levels.
Yeah, some like purple belt.
Yeah.
Some visiting purple belt kicks his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Everything has
crazy.
everything has levels. You know, it's which is a really good lesson of like, no matter what you do, there's always more out there. There's something more you can accomplish. But
yeah. And I think it's like you said, it's shifted a lot of people's algorithm to seeing what Kelsey did and empowering a bunch of women. It also empowered a bunch of guys to be dickheads.
Yeah.
Which isn't ideal, but to each their own, I suppose. But
I have started to subscribe a lot more. One part of it's a time like management tool. And the other part of it is just like mentally, like the more success we've had, the more like comments and hate and stuff I've seen on the internet. So I've gotten more to that Rogan theory of like, don't read the comments. It is interesting how, and I'm sure with you guys, 99% of comments are positive, right?
Yeah.
But it is amazing how 1% of comments you can dwell on it with 99% of your time.
Yeah.
When 99% of the comments are actually encouraging, you know?
Yeah. I think that kind of goes with life too, though, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause a lot of people would tell you what's the worst thing that they've ever been told, or who's the last person that said something bad to you and what'd they say. But almost nobody can do the inverse of it and say, when's the last time someone said something really nice about you and what'd they say, how to make you feel.
Right.
We choose not to hold on to the things that benefit us and keep ourselves subject to the turmoil that we want to create.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely fell into it out there, and I don't have a large social media. I've never tried really. But I knew that this would definitely bring attention. And with that, I wanted to just be as authentic as I could. So that's speaking about all of it. If you frustrate me about Kelsey, or I allow myself to get frustrated about it, which I did out there, we all did at times. I was like, well, how can I speak to this without degrading anyone? Because I don't want to be the voice now saying, fuck you guys for being assholes. I'm doing the same thing then.
Right. Right.
And so that's where I try and just ask people to look at their lives, where it's like, you have to know that's not like a great comment to leave on there. I would think.
I've also just started, I've made a conscious decision of just the block buttons, like one of my favorite buttons now. Because it's just like, why allow that person to keep coming back and screwing with your mental state when you know whatever they're saying about yourself, your company, your spouse, whoever, isn't true.
Yeah.
So I just start eliminating them, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, there's just no reason to let it show up or let my kids read that and think that something like that's true. Or,
yeah.
So it's like, well, it's not just me, it's employees, right? My kids, my wife.
It takes away from what
we're all pulling in the same direction. And it's like, why let some asshole from Connecticut bring doubt into the team or doubt into your family or
absolutely,
you know? So it's just like block, move on. You know, that person can go troll somebody else.
Yeah. I may have to jump into the block scene there.
Yeah. It's
easy.
There's a difference between constructive criticism and, you know, there's comments where you read and be like, maybe I should be a little self-reflective. Like maybe that's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Right? Some of it holds truth if you're frustrated about it.
Some of it is, you know, it's like, hey, you know, I saw you guys did this and I didn't think whatever. And it was like, that's actually a respectful comment that like maybe we should consider. Right. And then there's just negativity and hate. And I'm just like, I'll just block them. And
there's just literally no reason to take it in.
Well, I look at it's funny.
Like you said, unless you're doing something that's negative.
Like a block button on social media, I look at it like if you ran into somebody or you knew somebody a little bit loosely or whatever, and you ran them at the store and you had a horrible interaction with them and they were super negative and they were screaming at you about something, like, would you invite them for dinner? Would you go purposely hang out with them? Like, no, you're going to kind of block them in life, right? You're just going to be like, that's not someone I'm going to associate with. You know, that person's an emotional wreck or whatever. It's like, well, why would I allow that person to continue coming into my sphere and bringing in negativity?
Yeah.
Know?
Yeah. I think if you've done the work to like understand yourself and know that, that's the only way to do it is you have to protect your own energy.
Yeah.
It's not anyone else's job to do. There are people out there that want to feed off of it and it gets them all fired up. I was one of them at one point. And I understand it very well.
Yeah.
And so I think it's gross.
Yeah.
But I also understand that there's a place for it.
But man,
it has to exist, you know?
You can also be the person where it's like, I do try every day to go and comment something positive on somebody's page or something's post. Cause like that might be the one comment that like makes their day or makes them, maybe they're struggling with something and
saves a life.
Yeah. You never know. But well, man, how can people follow along? Like what do you have a website or social media? What's all that stuff?
Yeah. So for right now, the easiest would be my personal Instagram, which is Johnny Jiu Jitsu. I also have the business Instagram, which is Warrior Healer Project. And then there is a website. It is not finished right now. I'm going to be doing updates as soon as we get back home and kind of putting, gym memberships and dates and all of that on there. But I wanted to build something before the row I'm a pretty strong believer in manifestation. I've watched it work many, many different times in my life right now. And so when I got the message about this being a time to kind of utilize and grow the business and do all the things I want to do, that was why I started the website and stuff as soon as I did. But I need to be updating that. So I'll be doing that soon. And yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, when we talked about having you, I mean, we just started chatting over social media when you were out at sea and about you were going to be coming through here and doing a podcast, but I didn't know all the other things, about your life and whatnot. So it was fascinating. And I appreciate you being open and sharing that stuff. So
absolutely, man. There's definitely power in vulnerability, and I don't care if people want to judge me anymore. That's all good. No, so thank you for having me on again. Thank you for sponsoring the trip. That's how we connected. And so I appreciate you. Love the gear, love the knives. It was incredible. So
awesome,
thanks for helping us make it happen.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.